Hey there. So I saw the post. Thought I would respond really quick since it's top of mind. Um, did some quick testing through something really quick together. So got two variables created here. So the variable or var1 is going to be that one that you're copying things into. So kind of following that format 1K to 3.5 or 1K to 10K. And I can even do something like this. 1 to 10K. And I'll get the caps in there and everything. And then a second variable to store the output, which is going to be a true or false to determine if it's less than 10K per your ask there. So it's actually not as straightforward as it might seem like. Um, there's a little bit going on here. So technically, yes, these are numbers, right, to us, but to Nintex RPA, to software, this is actually just a string, so it's actually going to be considered text. So saying something like if this is less than 10,000, that's not really going to work because that would be comparing a number to text, and that's not going to work out. So a little bit of a roundabout way to get to where you're going here, but definitely possible. So the first thing I want to do is strip everything down and get it just to those numbers. Um, so since we have 1K to 10K, and we want to find something that's less than something, my thought was to use the higher end of that range, right? So in this case, in this example, we would use 10K instead of that whole statement there. So what we can do is let's peel that out. We'll use a right of formula to do that. So the original text is going to be that var1 or whatever variable you've copied everything into. The start value is actually going to be a space. So the preview is a little deceiving right now, but what it's going to do is going to find that first space and take everything to the right of that. Start position we can leave blank, but here's where it'll come together. Left to right, so by default this will be true, or having it be blank will mark that as true, and it'll start at the left and look for that first space from the left. But if we put this false, it'll actually start on the right hand side of the string and find the first space from there and take everything to the right of that. So using that, we can get that 10K value, and we could throw that on hold. Putting it on hold just lets us reference that later and embed that into another formula. So now in this case, we're left with just 10K. What I want to do now is let's just remove everything except the numbers. So we can use a remove formula. In this case, the original string is going to be that right of formula that I just built. And then the rest of these are all going to be different true, false options. So remove alpha, remove any alphabets we want to happen. Numbers, we want to be false. Spaces, let's just say true. And any other symbols, let's say true. I do see in your post there you say 3.5K. So that decimal might be in there. We can actually explicitly tell it to keep decimals. So that will remove everything that's not a number or a period, decimal. All right. So once we have that, so that's just the raw stripped away number. Now we can compare this result to whatever your static value is going to be, which in this case, in this post, it says 10 here. Yeah, and it includes anything under 10K. So anything under, in this case now with how things are formatted, anything under 10, because we don't want to include that K in there, because again, that'll just kind of throw things off a little bit. We just want to compare numbers to numbers. So had the right thought with using the is less formula. So we can actually utilize this here now. Item A compared to item B. So item A will just be that formula string that we've been building. Item B will be whatever static value that you've got in there, or I mean, this could be another formula, another variable, whatever that is. Just popping that in there with that expression builder. So in this case, it's false, which is what we want because it's equal, right? So there is another formula that says is less or equal. So depending on how your logic breaks down, you could utilize that one. And then we will store that result to the second variable that I've got. And now I can kind of play with this a little bit. So if it's 1 to 15K, it'll still put false. If it's 1 to 1.5K, it'll put true. If it's, I don't know, 3K to 8K, again, it'll still put true there. So hopefully that's the formula you need. From that point, you can use an if action and evaluate based on that variable. So we can say if less than 10 is equal to true, do this thing. We can even put an else in there so you get both results if it's equal to true. Go on the top part here. Then if it's equal to false, which fall into the else. And I'll kind of make this a little bit wider so you can see. So if that's true, which in this case it is, it would fall into the true. Then if I tweaked this and said maybe 3K to 18K, let's reevaluate that formula. And now, because it's false, it falls into the else. Yeah, so let me know if there's any questions or anything I can help with, clarify or build on this. Happy to help.